everyone? This is a Popcorn Heroes review of Ford v Ferrari.
Also known as Le Mans 66
Ooh,
in other territories. I kind of like that title better.
Le Mans.
Because I feel like this movie was more Shelby versus Ford than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Le Mans 66 is a better title in my opinion.
That sounds pretty good. I am Armando. With me, as always, is Pedro.
Hello,
What's
hello.
going on? So let's start it out, buddy. Quick premise,
Okay.
and then we'll jump into what our thoughts and ratings.
All right. So this movie follows the automotive visionary Carroll Shelby and his British driver Ken Miles.
Nice.
And pretty much their journey to win the Le Mans 66.
Nice.
On behalf of Ford,
Nice.
while driving the GT,
The GT.
the Ford GT. It's pretty much them going against Ferrari because Ferrari has won the last 4 or 5 years.
They've been the most dominant players.
They've pretty much
Le
been,
Mans.
they've been undefeated for quite a few years, and they're trying to win.
Usurp them.
Yep, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Cool. I'll start it off 1 out of 5. I'll give it a 4. This movie was great, man. It was the thrills, like the excitement of the racing. The racing looked great in this movie. Of course, certain parts had to be fake, but it didn't feel that way to me, and that's why I enjoyed it so much because it's like it felt real. It felt like that's what the racing was all about, right? The actors were fucking great. Matt Damon, nice. Kristen Bale, top notch. Everybody did a great job in this movie. I don't think there's one person like, you're a weak link here. Everything was great. The movie, the pacing was fucking fantastic. Like there wasn't a point that I was bored in this movie. Like I was like, oh, this happened and this happened. Like it flowed very well. One thing came after the other, and it was perfect, dude. This movie was just such a great film overall, and I highly enjoyed it. Like top notch. What did you think?
I agree. I give it a 4 out of 5 also, and I gotta agree with you. I gotta say that the movie's 2.5 hours, and it was just paced so nicely that I didn't even feel it.
No, you don't.
I left the theater and I went, "What fucking year is it?" Like I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2 hours tops. But yes, the acting was top fucking notch. Christian Bale, of course, killed it like he
was
always
so
does.
great.
But Matt Damon was also fantastic, and you know who else I really like was John Bernthal.
Yeah, he did a good job.
I'm kind of used to his hot-headed characters, his like fast talking, like even in Wolf of Wall Street, he was very like fast or whatever. But in this one, he was more laid back, more calm. He was the
marketing guy.
the marketing, the pencil pusher, that type. So it was kind of nice seeing him in a different role as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. The son did a great job too. I'm used to a lot of kid actors like fucking being garbage, but this kid was great. The wife of Christian Bale, I thought she was fantastic. I really liked her character.
She did a good job.
Yeah, man. Everyone brought their all, and yes, the racing was very real. Like it looked real, and I know most of it was probably CGI, but a lot of the times I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great because it kept me in the movie. I never thought to myself, whatever. Like I was in it. It was exciting. It was exhilarating. It was tense in a lot of scenes. Like the way they paced it, even if they exaggerated the truth, which I'm sure they exaggerated the truth like crazy, it still added. It still got the point across
It did.
of what it was.
It did.
And it was just pretty much the underdog story.
Yep. And it was really
And
good.
and the real life part of it that you get fucked. You get fucked along the way.
Yeah.
So
And the crazy thing is that it was based in a real story. This is not like a lie, I mean, of course, exaggeration, like you said, but the bones of it is all real.
The general idea of it is there.
Yeah.
They just probably fucked around with the timeline for the sake of
fluffed the
excitement
shit,
and fluffed it. Yeah. But,
And like I was telling you, I saw the doc of this movie.
oh yeah.
And
How's
I don't
that?
feel, and watching the doc, Ken wasn't such a big part, which is Christian Bale's character, wasn't that much of a huge part in all of this. He was a big part because he test drove all the cars. But that's a big job because you have to give them feedback of how it is driving it. But there was more players in all this.
Yeah,
it wasn't him and Shelby.
So the doc showed more of the team effort.
Yes, exactly.
Which they did talk about here, but the movie clearly was about Shelby and Miles, Ken Miles, which is Christian Bale's character.
Yeah. and it felt like in real life Ken was additive. He wasn't a key. You know? He did help a lot in developing these cars. Like these cars wouldn't be what they were if it wasn't for Ken. You know. Because he was test driving them, and test driving is probably one of like the biggest jobs they have because you have to fucking understand the car, how it works, how it runs,
and dangerous, dude.
It's dangerous, you know, especially back then. Dude, how insane what that shit was been.
And shit blowing up on you and stuff.
Dude, it's insane. So like the brakes not working, which is a big one. Yeah, so it's like he was he played a role in all of that, but he wasn't like. Like his movie was saying, essentially, it was him and Shelby going at it together.
It was just you two. The other ones was just fluff. It was you two. No. But the doc showed, no, man, there's a lot of parts.
There's a lot of parts that happen here, you know? But overall, this movie was fantastic, man. So we're going to get into the spoilers.
Nitty gritty.
Jumping right in to the spoilers. Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers.
We're going to do some spoilers now.
All right.
Spoilers.
Cool.
So one of the big things that I did not enjoy this movie, and I was telling you about this earlier, was the scene he had with his son when he was showing him like, oh, this is where I go for turning.
The perfect lap.
Exactly. When he was describing the perfect lap to him. I hated that scene.
Yeah? For
me, that scene felt very out of place. It felt like it didn't belong in the movie. It didn't belong at least there. I don't know. I think there was a way to doing it. There's a way to describe the perfect lap.
I think I know why. I disagree with you. Like I disagree with you. I liked it, and it also played a part with the later part of the movie. But maybe the reason why you didn't like it is because it was cheesier than everything else in the movie.
For sure.
It did come off as cheesy. I agree.
But it just also didn't feel like it was part of this movie.
Because the movie feels very gritty.
I wouldn't say gritty.
Romanticized. A little bit of the stuff, but that scene, I do say that it was a little on the cheesy side.
It just wasn't really there. Like it just didn't. It felt very out of place. It felt like this. Yeah? It wasn't. I felt like it was maybe tacked on or something like that. I don't think it. That was probably the only time in the movie where it felt like the movie came to a stop and it was just like, oh, let's take this quick detour and come back on to the highway. You know, I'm just like,
But I think it was important to the movie and important to the. I wouldn't say important, but it added to the relationship between the father and the son.
For sure. And I understood why they added that.
And it added to the scene at the end where he gets a little selfish.
Yeah.
And then he pulls back.
Yeah.
So it added to it.
It added to it, but I didn't need it though. Like I already knew that him and his son had a great relationship. That I didn't need more of that. Like I understood that. I think it would have been cooler if he would have like taken him on a run around the lap or something like that, and like, oh, this is that, you know. I think that would have been a little bit more believable.
Explain it in motion.
Yeah, like just them in a car driving together. I think that would have been. That would have been a better scene and a better way to portray that relationship. Like, you know, he was always by his side and stuff like that. I think that would have been better. But overall, I wasn't feeling that specific scene. Like it was off. But I understood the reasons why they put it. I just feel like they didn't need to put it. I think it was just additive to things that was already described within the film. But that's probably like one of my biggest dislikes of the movie overall.
Yeah. I could see. I think it's more of a nitpick though, but
yeah, for sure it is.
I gotta say I liked that. See, going into this movie, I thought that they were gonna portray Ford as the good guy, you know?
Yeah.
And Ferrari as the villain. But this movie really just showed, you know what? Everyone's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
If you're the head of it, like he was a fucking prick. Like they all were.
Ford was a douchebag, but you know what?
But all of them too.
Yeah, no, for sure. But what I also felt is that they blamed it more on his right-hand man.
It's true.
He was the villain.
I actually have it here. Josh Lucas was the actor.
Yeah. So
Leo Beebe or Beebe?
I don't know.
So
they made him essentially the villain of the movie.
Yeah, the VP.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like everything that went wrong.
He was the definition of a brown nose, ass kissing, just like, yeah, that was my idea. And then if it's not his idea, he's like, get the fuck out of here with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame this person for that. So like Ford itself was a douche, but when he talked to, he understood.
Yeah.
But then this guy's just like, no, I want things my way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what anyone else says. It has to be my way. Unless Ford comes in and tells me to do something. But other than that, I want it to be my way, you know? And I didn't really enjoy that. Like,
I did.
He was a fucking complete douche.
I did like how the movie did a good job of showing everyone's power. Like when Ford is first introduced, it's him shutting down the factory, him pretty much telling all his people to fuck off, and you'll only get a job if you come back with an idea. Besides that, fuck off. You know, he's very intimidating when he's first shown. And then you get that scene that I really like was where Shelby takes him for a ride.
Oh yeah.
And that's when you see, and also in the beginning of the movie, you see Shelby in his prime. And when he's racing, and then you know it's on fire. Am I on fire? Am I on fire? Just keep fucking riding. So it also shows his strength.
Yeah.
And
his determination.
But then, you know, you kind of forget about that a little bit. At least I did. I forgot what a fucking like badass he was. Because at that point in the movie, it's already like halfway. And he's already been out of the driving, and, you know. And then you see him actually get Ford into the car and do that like crazy, what do they call it? Like that. It's a high risk plan, and then he does it, and he pretty much turns Ford into a total baby.
Yeah.
Just like crying of excitement and sadness and all that, just totally bumbled up.
I can't believe this. You know?
Like, oh my God, if only my dad knew. You're just like, wow, this guy that was intimidating in the beginning just totally fell apart.
Yeah.
I really liked that. It was like, damn, dude, Shelby's a fucking G, dude.
And especially the scene where you could notice how big of a G was when they lost. And Ford calls him into the office.
That's
and he
true.
talks him into like, nah, you should give me all control of this, you know?
That's true.
And the way he talked to him about it, like he literally was kind of like, nah, dude, we did a good job here. Like,
give me one good reason why I shouldn't fire. Well, you see, we were fast as fuck, and that's thanks to me and me only.
Yeah.
So if you want to win next time, fuck off.
Exactly. Essentially, that's what he essentially told him. Like, nah, like we did a good job here. You know, we got him in the ropes.
We got him right where we want him. What do you mean we got him right where we want him?
Well, this man got wrong. This man got wrong. This man got wrong. This man got wrong. But I see all that as progress.
That's true.
And that scene was amazing.
Yeah,
it was so good.
It felt very movie. Of course, again, we were talking about like the romanticized part, but it's great. It's great. I was gonna say great television. That's not me.
No,
it's a great part of the movie.
Yeah, and just the way he acted it too, like the way the whole scene played out was fucking
confidence.
Perfect.
Now, once was he scared? Just
he
like
was never
man.
scared. He was never scared, and like you said, Ford is quote unquote intimidating,
right? And then
but he was
him.
never afraid of him. Mm-hmm. You know, he wanted to be like, I just need your money to do what I want.
Yeah, I like that. Like I said, they did a good job of portraying each person. Like, oh yeah, look at the big dick here, but Shelby's got a bigger dick. You know, you know what I mean?
He could convince you to do shit. You know?
Yeah. No, I thought that was awesome, and
the whole thing about the racing, like when you're in there, like when they were doing the races and stuff like that, it felt like you were there. Like it felt like you were part of it all. It didn't feel like you were on the outside looking in. It felt like you were there with them. You know, I really enjoyed that.
They did a pretty good job, especially when Shelby's character, when Shelby's describing it. They did a pretty good job of explaining what the Le Mans 24 hours thing is.
Yeah, and it's just intense.
Going into this movie, I didn't know a race like that existed.
Me neither.
I've heard about the Le Mans, but I had no idea that it was 24 hours. That's insanity to me.
It's a 24-hour race.
That's
crazy.
fucking crazy. They're driving at, what was it, 4 8-hour shifts, give or take?
Yeah, some shit like that.
And they're sleeping so they could jump in again, and they're using the same fucking car that you got to be careful doesn't overheat.
Yeah, it doesn't fuck up.
So it's a marathon. So it's not let me floor this thing right away, because then your car will explode like a lot of the other fucking cars were happening. And even that part in the beginning where they have to run to the car, and as they're getting out, cars are already smashing into each other.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Demolition derby shit? I've never heard of this in my life.
And what's crazy is that they were saying that there's certain strips at night where you can't see the road at all.
Right.
So you're driving at like 100 and something miles per hour, and you can't even see where the fuck you're going.
You saw that in the beginning with Shelby.
Yeah.
When he's kind of like squinting, I'm like, this nigga's gonna die. Yeah, the fog. I couldn't see anything either.
Yeah,
I was feeling nervous in that scene.
He was falling asleep too, and he was hitting his head to stay awake.
Right, yeah.
He was like, oh my God, it's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
So imagine you're driving that in the middle of the night, a long ass strip where you're hitting like fucking like 100 and something miles per hour, and you can't see where the fuck you're going. That's intense, dude.
I actually didn't think he was falling asleep, Because the thing is,
When
when
you're
you're
sleep deprived.
no, because remember he had a heart condition, so his blood was off the charts. So you get blurry vision when your heart rate is through the roof. So I felt like he was going through that, and I guess he wasn't aware. He just kind of like
That makes
snap
sense.
out of it. Come on, because the adrenaline's so high, so you wouldn't get sleepy. You would probably feel the effects of sleep deprivation, but I feel the adrenaline rush is too crazy.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. That definitely makes sense because
Well-
the heart was a big part of it all.
Yeah.
This is why he stopped racing.
But and of course, Ken Miles, Christian Bale's character,
Yeah.
the best fucking character.
It was great
in the movie.
He was fucking great, dude.
Yeah, I just love how they portrayed him as the fucking crazy hothead. Doesn't work with anyone.
Yeah.
And he's like zero bullshit, especially when he's like seeing the Mustang and he's talking to the right hand man.
Oh my god, that scene was so good.
He's just like, hey,
your shit sucks.
well, the reason why he got aggressive towards him is because he was talking to his kid.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, kid, get your hands off. And he's like,
Yeah.
man, no, you can keep touching it. And I'm like, damn, real dad right there. Just
Yeah,
like,
for
no,
real.
you're good, son.
Good. This car's shit anyways,
Yeah.
man. this and this and this is wrong with it, and which causes this to be worse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, fix that shit up.
And
man.
you can tell it's a great movie because honestly, I know fuck all about cars. I know nothing.
And you understood everything.
And I understood everything. I don't know shit about what they were talking about.
Me
The
neither.
torque, the motors, they're getting really into the nitty gritty. I'm sure,
But it made sense.
I'm sure, what do they call them? Garage heads were
Yeah,
probably like, oh yeah, man,
Yeah. But it all makes sense when you're watching it. You're
Right.
like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. There's not enough torque in that shit.
Yeah. That's a higher number. That means it's better. It all made sense to me. If I could follow this shit and get excited for when they were excited, then this movie did a great job.
Yeah,
So-
it did what it was supposed to do, essentially.
Oh, you know which scene I really liked? Where Christian Bale was keeping the secret, and then the wife fucking loses it and starts flooring it.
Oh my god.
And she's just swerving, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
She's like, tell me what it is. Tell me.
I was like, "All right, I see
You're
what's up."
lying to me.
But it was good because it shows what kind of a badass she was,
Yeah,
which
she was
makes
a
sense
badass.
for her to keep up with a guy like that.
Yeah.
Just
To put up with his shit. in
just
general.
marriage wise, you got to know you have to have the same intensity as him.
Yeah.
To level it with each other, and I'm just like, that's awesome. Like they did a good job of showing that 3-unit family as a whole, like how all of them were. This is great writing.
The family dynamic was really good.
Exactly, great writing. I really enjoyed it.
So one of the saddest things that happened in the movie, I know you're thinking, but I'm talking about before that.
Okay.
When he loses the race,
Of course.
so it's kind of like, so he gets fucked over. In general, because they want the photo finish,
the photo op.
and he
was 2 laps ahead of everyone,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, he
Or
was
a lap or something
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
he was far ahead. But the crazy thing is that if he would have won this race, he would have been the first time ever to have done all these 24-hour races in a year
In a year, yeah.
and win them all with the same car. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fucking
And with the same car. Yeah, that's
'cause,
crazy.
I mean, that's not the same car,
Same-
but it's the same
the same model.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, damn, dude, that's intense. Like, why wouldn't Ford want those records? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they
That
go
is
through
weird.
that? Even in real life, like, and
It's-
not even movie wise.
Well-
you could say in the movie wise, you could tell that it was the villain trying
Yeah.
to fuck him over. But in real life, it's like, why would you fucking do that?
I'll tell you right now, actually, because it's ego. So if he would have won those awards, whose name would have been on that? Miles. This guy's an excellent driver. It's not necessarily the car. It's him as a driver. Now, if all 3 Fords cross the finish line, that's like, Ford, buy this car. You know what I mean? So it was more of like, I need to sell this fucking car, or whatever car is going to be based off of this. I need to sell it. It was a marketing tool over, here, Ken, have your shining moment in your whatever Hall of Fame version of drivers.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It's about me and me selling my car. So it was all ego, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Which sucks.
Yeah, it's absolute bullshit.
It's
They turned it into
terrible.
a commercial instead of like, have your fucking moment, dude. You
Yeah.
deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, McLaren won.
Yeah. Oh man. And it's funny because I heard the name and I'm like, this guy's famous.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
when I saw he won, I'm like, that's why he's famous.
Yeah. Because it's funny because I'm like, is this the McLaren that did the McLaren?
I know. I do
So
that.
I looked it up. I'm like, it is the McLaren.
It is the
that did
McLaren. dude.
McLaren.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, hey, McLaren, that name's famous. There it is.
It's
I'm
just
not
crazy.
saying I'm not knocking him for like.
No.
Obviously he was a kick-ass driver, but
Yeah.
in the perspective of this movie, it's kind of like, oh man, you motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because when I was watching the doc, Ken Miles was called the Rabbit or something like that.
Okay.
It's essentially is the person who pushes their cars to the limit, who goes the fastest to push other people to go to their limit in order to fuck up their car.
That makes sense because this is like a marathon endurance test.
Yeah.
And, and if you push them, if you bait them.
If you put exactly, he was the bait. Essentially.
He was the bait.
To make other drivers push their cars so they could fuck up their cars and lose the race.
Which, funny enough, you do see that in the movie when the Italian's like side by side with him and he fucking floors it.
Yeah.
And you see that shit at 9,000 RPMs and you're like, obviously,
yeah, you're gonna fuck up your shit.
Obviously, you're an idiot because
Yeah.
that's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
And it looked like there were so many laps after that moment. Like Ferrari fucked that like real early.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like that,
I would say the halfway point, at least according to the movie, it made it seem like it was
so early.
It was like three quarters into
Yeah.
the race.
So it's funny that like he ends up being the fastest person because of that. Because a lot of the other cars were breaking down. So he was one of the last few who were still surviving. The last 3 Fords.
At least through the movie's portrayal, they actually portrayed Ferrari as more honorable than Ford. Because Ford would leave on the helicopter, and they made a big point of that in the movie, to go off and eat, in some fancy place and then come back right when the race is about to finish.
Yeah, exactly.
While Ferrari stayed there essentially the whole time.
Yeah.
Who knows where the fuck he slept? Who knows if this was even real? But for the sake of the movie, and then he was actually paying attention when after his driver fell out, he still stayed in the race.
Yeah.
And watched it and watched Ken break those records. Because that's when he's like, hey, he's still there? He's breaking those records? And he even gave him the salute of like kind of like,
I respect you, man.
Yeah, like, good job, man. Fuck the driver. I mean, fuck the person that made that car, but good job on you. So as far as the movie portrayed them, Ferrari, you ain't so bad, man. At least you respect the athlete for it. While Ford was just sell my fucking car.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because they're saying that when I was watching the doc, that Ferrari, all he cared about was the racing. He didn't care about anything else.
He didn't care about...
The only reason he started selling Ferraris because he needed the money. But his whole thing was all about racing. He didn't give a fuck about nothing else but racing.
So they're pretty much saying he sold the cars to fuel his racing habit.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I can respect that.
He needed the money, so he's like, okay, I need to start selling my car. And that's the reason why he started selling the Ferrari cars. But other than that, Ferrari would have never sold his cars because all he cared about was racing. So all his R&D went into racing. And he didn't care. He didn't give a fuck about anything else.
The movie did say that. Oh, he wasted all his money. He's bankrupt. Yeah. And now that you mentioned that, because I'm thinking to myself, why would he do that?
Yeah.
But now that you told me that background, that makes sense now.
All he cared about was that.
It does make sense.
So he sold his car to Fiat, and he sold it wasn't Fiat.
No, it was Fiat. They showed it in the movie.
So because Fiat was one of the popular Italian brands, so in order to maintain the status quo, he sold to Fiat.
It was Fiat. He said you keep full control. Yeah. I buy you for 15. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was some shit like that. Yeah, so because what it was is that Ford didn't want it. Yeah, you could do your thing, but you still have to say what we want.
Right, which is why the one question he asked. Let's say I want to race.
Yeah.
And you say you don't want to race. What happens? And that's when he goes, well, you don't race.
Yeah.
And that's why he was like, man,
fuck that. Yeah.
Screw that.
But still, Fiat paid more though.
Yeah.
I think Ford was giving them 15, and Fiat paid like 20 or something like that. Yeah. They paid a little bit more to get Ferrari. So it was pretty interesting, the whole dynamic of that.
Yeah, there was a lot. Now that we're talking about that part, there was a lot going on in the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Even though technically it's supposed to follow Shelby and Miles' journey, there was a lot going on, a lot of moving parts in it.
Yeah, the whole thing was just it was, but that's what made it so good. That when you think about it, that flowed well. Yeah. Because everything made sense. The whole thing made sense, Yeah. There was nothing about it that didn't make sense.
Definitely an excellent movie. And I just loved how it showed them making cars faster.
Yeah.
Oh, their computer. Man, fuck that computer. That computer weighs like 50 pounds. Get it out of there, which is true. It's like, hello, of course you're going to get the computer out of there.
Yeah.
And in the tape thing, because I must have seen that trailer I don't know how many times. And I kept seeing the tape with the ball of yarn. They always show that in the trailer. I'm like, what the fuck is that gonna do?
Yeah.
And then when you saw it in the movie, you're like, oh, there it is. 'Cause
Aerodynamics.
it shows the aerodynamics, so you get to see what was the fuck up of the car.
Yeah, that's pretty
great.
cool.
That was cool, man.
I never knew they did that type of shit.
No.
Which is pretty
I
cool.
was like,
And it
man.
was real life too, because I saw it in the doc.
Nice.
Pictures of them with the yarn and shit.
That's awesome.
That's crazy, dude. And then of course, the tragedy of it
The
all.
tragedy, man. I was even thinking to myself as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna show a picture of him at the end, or if he's gonna be at the Oscars. Because I remember Christian Bale did The Fighter, and he brought the real guy with him. So I thought, oh, maybe he's gonna bring Ken Miles to the thing. I didn't know the guy died. I didn't know any of that. And then when I watched the movie and I saw the accident, I went, oh, never mind.
He ain't making it out.
He ain't making that. Ah, fuck.
Yeah. So they're saying that after that accident, when Ken Miles died, Ford forced them to put
The cages.
the cages into the cars.
I did read that part. Yeah. It was because of him
Because of him.
specifically that
Yeah.
they created
because of that death.
They
did that.
They did the cages. Because another driver had died before that, and it was like bad publicity. The two
Yeah.
drivers died with the same car. I did see that part.
Yep, exactly. It's just crazy, dude. And that's so tragic because
All that fucking talent
yeah.
and skill just gone because of
And what I
accidents.
don't remember if his son actually did see it or was part of the movie. I don't remember that part.
That was so brutal, though.
But if his son did see it, that's
brutal.
fucking that's scarring, dude.
Yeah.
You saw your dad die.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's intense, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And like after having that relationship you had with him, it's just like Jesus, dude, that's fucking. Oosh. That's the saddest part of the movie, dude.
Yeah, because then after that, it ends with
It just ends. Yeah.
Shelby. No, it shows Shelby, like pretty much like doesn't want to sell cars anymore. He's just like, man, fuck it. What was the point anymore?
Yeah.
When I was your friend, your best friend dead.
Yeah.
Then he goes and visits the family, of course, and the son. He gives him the wrench, the famous wrench that he
He
chucked
threw at
at
the
him and
beginning.
framed.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that to come back. He's like, frame it. I'm like, this is gonna come into play somehow.
Yeah.
And there it was.
Yeah, man, it was sad. It was tragic. But yeah. Any last thoughts?
No, man, great fucking movie. Highly recommended.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it, and I think anybody could watch this. And will
Exactly.
enjoy it.
If I, who know nothing about cars, can enjoy the shit out of it and still follow it, then
Yeah.
that's it. That's all you need to know.
Yep. Yeah, I highly agree with that, Pedro. That is the end of our review of Ford v Ferrari, or whatever you want to call it, versus Ferrari, whatever. But it's V
Or the other title,
or the other title.
Le Mans 66.
Damn, sexy.
Sexy.
Sexy. Hope you enjoyed this review. Let us know what you thought about this movie. You can follow us on social media platforms. Let us know the deets. Till next time.
Bye-bye.